There are more camper brands out there than any of us could ever keep track of, and a lot of them probably haven't even crossed your radar yet. Pathway Campers is a perfect example. They're a small mom-and-pop style manufacturer focused on giving people in the US a simple, affordable way to get out into nature without overthinking it or overspending. According to their Facebook page, Pathway has been around since 2020, and the fact that they're still going strong 5 years later says a lot. Owners seem genuinely happy, and these campers are apparently selling really well. That usually means a company is doing something right, especially in a market as crowded as this one. At the heart of Pathway's lineup are 3 camper configurations built around what they call a squared drop design. Think teardrop camper, but with straighter lines and a more boxy shape. That extra squareness pays off inside, giving you a bit more usable living space, and it also makes it easier to mount things like roof racks and solar panels up top. What's interesting is that Pathway seems to use the same basic camper body across all 3 models. The main differences come down to the chassis, the running gear, and a handful of added features. Those changes do affect weight slightly, but overall, the platform stays pretty consistent across the lineup. To really get a feel for what Pathway's about, it makes sense to look at their biggest and toughest option, the off-road model. This is their flagship camper, so you'd expect the price to climb pretty quickly. Surprisingly though, the standard off-road version comes in at just around $16,000. You can add options if you want, of course, but if you've been saving up for a larger RV or travel trailer, you might already have that kind of money set aside and realize you don't actually need anything bigger. The off-road sits on a 3,500-pound independent suspension setup, paired with 33-inch BF Goodrich tires, which gives it a very healthy 20 inches of ground clearance. Add in an articulating hitch that allows full 360-degree movement, and this thing is clearly built to follow you well off the beaten path. While it's not totally clear whether the suspension is torsion-based or a full A-arm design, it looks most likely to be a torsion axle. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does mean this camper is more about rough trails than extreme rock crawling. Up front and around the wheels, Pathway uses diamond plate to protect the body from flying rocks and trail debris. The main exterior skin is aluminum, and you've got more than 20 color options to choose from, which is always a nice touch if you want something that feels a little more personal. Around the rest of the camper, you'll find practical details like rear stabilizer jacks, a rear receiver hitch, side vents, exterior lighting, and doors and windows on both sides. That setup makes it easy to move in and out and gives you a view no matter which side you're parked on. It also just makes the camper feel more open and livable. Most of what you see on fully decked out examples, though, is optional. The roof rack system is a good example, and it's about more than just carrying extra gear. These campers are built strong enough to support a rooftop tent, which really opens things up for families or couples who travel with a lot of toys. You can use the rooftop tent for sleeping and dedicate the camper itself to storage, power, food, water, and everything else you want to bring along. When it comes to electrical systems, things stay pretty simple. The standard setup appears to include a 100 amp-hour battery and a 100-watt solar panel. So many owners may choose to add a portable power station depending on how they plan to camp. If you're traveling with more people or just more gear, there are a couple of smart storage solutions built in. There's a front-mounted toolbox, and around the back you'll find a rear galley area, very much in the spirit of a traditional teardrop camper. This space is laid out across 3 levels, giving you room for a fridge, a cooktop, a portable sink and faucet, water storage, and all your cooking gear. With about 24 inches of depth to work with, it's surprisingly usable. That rear galley also gives us a peek into how these campers are built on the inside. Pathway uses wood for the internal structure and cabinetry, most likely plywood, cut cleanly and organized into neat storage cubbies. Along the walls and ceiling, thinner wood panels hide the insulation and wiring, keeping everything tidy and functional. Inside the main cabin, you get a vinyl floor, a tri-fold sofa, interior lighting, an overhead fan, and simple controls for the basic systems. Altogether, the off-road model comes in at about 1,250 pounds without any optional extras, which is pretty impressive for a fully capable 5 by 10-foot camper. If $16,000 still feels like a stretch, Pathway does offer more affordable versions. The Deluxe, which is their standard layout, starts around $11,500, while the XR sits in the middle of the range at about $12,000. That gives you plenty of choice depending on your budget and how rugged you want your setup to be. If these compact, affordable, American-built campers sound like your kind of thing, Pathway Campers is definitely worth a look. Just keep in mind that these units are built to order, so there will be some lead time involved. Still, for roughly $12,000 to $16,000, it's a pretty compelling way to get yourself into the camping lifestyle without going overboard.